As a performer, your body is there.
Hi, I'm Mad Kate, and you're listening to S.W.E.A.T. Sexuality, Work, Extraction, Art, Theatrics. S.W.E.A.T. is a series of conversations about performance and performativity of the sexual and sexualized body at work, where work is broadly defined as the labor of survival, the labor of care, creativity, and capital A art. How exactly do we define our work? And how does that work entangle and circumscribe our sexual identities, our creative lives, and the ways in which we provide care? How do we perform tasks, acts of care, and identities? Anchored in our always already racialized and sexualized bodies, our complex intersectionalities, these conversations are a means of relating through work to each other. I hope that they contribute to dialogues which normalize sex work as work and all work as deserving of respect, healthy conditions, and a living wage.
Most of us, we are flea market. Somebody will just come and say how you look. They see the physical body. Like, well, okay, you are very strong. You can be a security. They don't see your mind, intelligence, or ideas, but can I take you for security? And because you are in need, say yes.
My guest this month is Napuli Paul Langa. Napuli is a Sudanese human rights activist fighting for the rights of refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants.
Why do we have to go to street and fight? Because of all this imbalance situation that the system put on us. If to make my voice loud is criminal, okay, let's go for it.
In 2013 and again in 2016, Napuli stayed for days on end in a tree to fight off the eviction of the refugee movement from Orianienplatz in Berlin, and to fight for three demands: the right to stay, the right to work, and the right to travel.
I came here 2012 and I involved into refugees movement at Orianienplatz. Since then, I've been fighting, but this is not the only fight that I involved in, but also in Sudan. If you see the history of Sudan, in 2011, Sudan divided into two, south and the north, and we were opposing that. That's why I was expelled to go to Uganda in 2011 before the separation, and then I made my way to here. When I came here, I was thinking differently, that I will have a choice to choose what I want to continue with my life. But then I was trapped in refugees to fight for refugees' rights, which was not in my mind. If I have choice, for example, I just talked recently because I got this fame, in 2014, like Napoli is famous. And then I was asked in a radio, how do you feel to be famous? For me, I'm not. I'm not feeling good at all. Why should I be famous for my right, for basic right? I should be famous for something else. Maybe I want to be actor. It is my choice to be famous. I will be very proud on that. I'm also very tall and, slender enough. I would have choice to be, like model. And if I am famous of being model, I'll be happy. But why do I have to be famous on my fight, which remind me every time that Napoli fighting, Napoli, people dying in it, people, have blood in it, So for me, it's not a choice. I have no choice. I fight for refugees and the marginalized community. Why do they have not to practice their life? Some people, they want to choose what they like. Maybe I like to dance. It's supposed to be appreciated. For example, you are artists, you are activists, you are just somebody who need to have peace and all this. But we don't see that there. There are companies who are looking for other people because they know that these people are looking for a job and they are taking other people for granted. That's why you can see unbalancing. And then when you come to the racial, our bodies, let's say, first of all, it is a flea market, I can say. Most of us, we are flea market. Somebody will just come and say how you look. They see the physical body. Like, well, okay, you are very strong. You can be a security. Even if they don't see like, your mind, intelligence, ideas, but can I take you for security? And because you are in need, say yes. This is kind of colonization. Because you see this person, the tall, he has that kind of unique feature, and then was like, okay, I'm coming to clean you up, to make you my security, without asking what is your talent, what do you want, but it's just like, come here. This is what we are, we are classified by the society, You become a puppet. For me, I become a puppet if that is not my choice, We all have to eat. We all have to dress. We all have to have a shelter, at least. Basic right, to earn. But some people cannot get their rights. Most of the people are falling into a hole. And if you are not happy, this generate self-conflict in you, and then the body cannot take that heavy load. And some people crash. And if you crash, you are not more needed in that company or, association or whatever. This is how the body look like. If, for example, I'm a girl or I'm a woman, and I'm very important on my ideas to do something, but then the society look me, differently, like she's a woman. She has less, like they just intimidate you or something. So you have to stand up and fight for your right to show that, I am a woman and I have mine, I have this. So why do we have to explain ourselves?
You mean sort of that you have the right to work and earn and self-actualize the way that you want to, regardless of your body?
Let's say we have 1 hour time to do something very, very important. And I take this 1 hour to explain myself. When I come to reality, like, okay, we have to perform or whatever, it is already time, gone. So you cannot achieve actually what you need because you take time to explain yourself. For example, somebody who look transgender, for example, how much time they explain themselves, I am like this, why are you like this? Was it during your born? Was it what? And, it takes a job from there. So this is how the system manage to bring some people. It psychologically affect you, and then you are like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not doing actually a good thing. You lost a track. We in the activism say, don't ever lose your track. Your track should stay. Like, for example, let's say when I was at Orianienplatz as a woman, black woman, not just a woman, because there is also privileges if you are white. A black woman, African woman, and also not just African black woman, but refugees, asylum seeker. That's also in the mind of people, you are less than that. But when I came, I say, what? However you call me, however you put me, that is not my point of view. My point of view is somewhere else. I just continue my way. If I see something, good, then I listen. When I listen, I learn something. So for this, if somebody say, okay, black woman, this, or black, or white woman, and then lesbian, and then let's say maybe disabled person, we are the intelligent people. We are the history ourselves because we have contented with the experience. For example, I was the only woman who fight at Orianienplatz, sleeping there with 30 people in one tent, because I know that, my family taught me in a way that I can see the world. I can take that back to me. And then I can feel that power. I have the power, and I can, somebody can listen to me.
Although you didn't get to be officially an actor or a model, do you nevertheless feel that your activism is a kind of creative or performative job or an artistic job?
For me, it's like activism and also the artist thing is combined together. Because, for example, I'm activist. I go to the street now, and I fight, like, hey, stop the war in the wall and everything like this. When I go, people can forget in 2-3 days, forget. But the art, community, they can record this for later. Now, for example, Orianienplatz is not like the same, but you can see like in the exhibition, they are bringing the pictures of, Orianienplatz, and you say, oh, yeah, I remember, that's me. Oh, and then it's bring people closer to the movement. The radio like this, it gives the voice to say, okay, there are this and that. So this is the package that we want. And why do we have to have radio? Why do we have to go to street and fight? Because of all this imbalance situation that the system put on us. And we are very quick to observe that, and then it become mindset. And sometimes you feel like this is your word, but it's not your word. It is mindset. And then you just, like, oh, I'm also acting like that. I'm acting like that,
Yes, it becomes so internalized, right?
Yes. For example, the racism that I get, I have indirect racism than direct racism. Direct racism is the companies that I want to go, Auslander beholder, or offices, or if I want to rent the house, I get like, okay, Napuli is not German name, this, or my language, But within us, even, in our platform, still we have to work a lot. So we have to practice a change from within and the mindset.
You're getting at the racism that we are basically seeped in, that I grew up with, racism of white supremacy that's sick in our entire structures throughout everything.
Yes. That's why we say we are still having the Red Sea separation of water. You know what I mean? Because it's like you are in a river bank and the other person is in a river bank. And all this, inside the river, still we are far away from each other. We are not forgiving ourselves, or we are not forgetting ourselves. We are the legacies of, your great parents who are doing this. It's still on us.
I would love for you to, if you can, give a little context around what you were doing at Orianienplatz, because I think part of what you're speaking about is that people don't know, they forget. They don't know what's happening in their own community. They have to have the recording to learn later, or maybe they learn now. So yeah, maybe you can just say a bit about what your struggle was there and what you set up.
Yes, our struggle started in 2012 because of Iranian guy actually who committed suicide in Würzburg in south of Germany. And the friends, 10 of the friends came and say, okay, we are all like this because this person didn't commit suicide. It was not a choice to commit suicide because he was blocked in and out. That time, for example, 40 euros per month for asylum seekers, and also not cash. You have no bank, you have no cash, but only vouchers where you can go and buy something. And you cannot get the balance back because you have to give everything. If there is balance, then it's done, it's gone. With all these things, and the man has also family there, he cannot talk to the family, he cannot do anything here because they were not allowed, refugees were not allowed to work, were not allowed to even move. For example, they were given obligation of residency. For example, here you cannot go to Brandenburg, and from Brandenburg you cannot go here, which is obligation of residency. In Germany is resident flick.
Wow, so like as an asylum seeker at that time, you could not move. One is you're not given the right to work automatically, and you can't move or.
You cannot move, yes. You cannot move from, like from here to Brandenburg, I cannot go. Only in Berlin. And if you go there, then you commit, a crime, and you can be, facing consequences and pay the fines, things like that. And then, of course, you don't have money, and then we are not allowed, refugees, not allowed to cook in your rooms, And in these rooms, like 6 people, 3 to 6 people in one room, and for a long time. You don't know when, maybe 3 months before they transfer you to another place, or even 1 year. So you don't know when will you be transferred. And this is one. And then also people were deported, throughout every time. And they identify the people who are with the war zone that will be humanitarian refugees who can have, that maybe protection, and economical refugees are refugees who can be deported, things like that. So we are calling that no deportation for any forms, like whether it's, let's say political or non-political, if it is economical, because if we talk about economical, refugees deeply, you will find out the Western world actually sucking all these countries where the oil, where the, let's say, chocolate, coming from where. And if you can see also coffee that you are drinking here every day, we don't drink there, but because everything is here. See the companies there, who dominating the companies? It's a Western world or Asia now, So everything dominated, either I become like secretary or things like that, and there is no work, So we, in Africa, people are driven according to Western mind. So this is where we say there is no any form of deportation, and also the heims or camps that refugees are put on should be abolished, and also abolish this obligation of residency, 3 main things. So by that time, because there is no way to move around, and then the people from Wurzburg, the friends of this, is called Mohammed Rasipa from Iran. They moved to the center, Wurzburg, and make protest there, make hunger strike, and until people get to know this, that people are protesting, and then other places also refugees protest there. And then from there, they decided, we have to walk through to Berlin, where the government is, to face the government there, to bring the situation, and also to tell the people, society, that we are not criminals. Because what you hear from, the refugees are criminals, the refugees don't want to work, while we are not allowed to work, actually. So all these things are, and also these people are not well-educated people, which is not true. Of course, in every society, there are people who are not educated, there are people who are educated. And all this, we say, let's go there. This is where they were marching from Wurzburg to Berlin, 28 days to Berlin by foot. And that's also telling the protest, political protest, and march to also break this resident flight. And there were many, police brutality there, but people were just coming. And also the bus tour was going around to 16 states to also inform other people and mobilize people. So for me, I was put in Braunschweig, in Niedersachsen there, and this is also where they put Sudanese. Every Sudanese who are coming to seek asylum, they put there because they classify people too. For example, like Kenyan, they put in Brandenburg, things like that. So for me, I was sent to Niedersachsen, and then the bus came there. So I was like, okay, if there is a bus, already people are mobilizing themselves. It's good because I was also mobilizing people there for the, association, so that we can have that, association, and then from there, we can start fighting for our rights. But when that bus came, I was like, okay, instead, let us all join this group and fight, instead of, making different things. So from there, I joined until 6th of October, we reach Berlin. And then from there, we start making activities and also different, type of actions, going to embassies, because embassies, for example, they have contract with the German government, and that time it was Nigerian, so we went to Nigerian embassy also. We make another hunger strike, and we did the very big demonstration that mobilized by self-organized refugees, which was the biggest, demonstration ever. And we were like, okay, after this demonstration, because we already let them know our demands, and this is what we need. These are the just basic needs. But the government and the newspaper, they were not actually, replying in a good way. They were silent, so we felt provoked. That's why we say, okay, we stay, because basically we were not to stay for 1.5 years. But because of this provocation, you say, okay, we are, playing on our intelligence. So we stayed there, and until 2013, this is where they tried, the Green Party, through Monica Hammond, she tried to evict us in 2014. And then we resist that, and then the SPD took over. They were offering negotiation, that we negotiate, okay, what do we need and what do you need? And, this negotiation is supposed to be like, let's say, partnership or 50-50 right? But always, these politicians, they promise you the whole world. But at the end, the world is empty.
Yeah.
And when they make that negotiation, it was divide and rule negotiation, because there were then the refugees coming from Italy, who they have already the permission to stay in Italy 1 year or 2 years, or even after up to 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And these refugees, they don't have that, You see the crisis in Libya at that time. And then they came, when they heard that Orianienplatz is protesting refugees here, they came to join us, and they have their demands like, a right to stay, right to study. And we put these like 5 demands together. So the government now study that if we can talk to Lampedusa refugees, because they are very slight, they are not very radical like, the other refugees, we can just say, okay, right to work and right to study is more or less, flexible. So this is where in this negotiation, we went there. I was also part of the, delegation, but I was kicked out also indirectly, because it's all about the mind, how to study, who is, to be expelled here. And then they were using these people who are desperate, who are new also to the, to the system. They use this Lampedusa group that we will give you the house to stay, we will give you the money, and also we will see how we can, for example, integrate you to the system through what do you call duldung, because they have to change their document to duldung, and then they can check, to their system here. So they will be given duldung, and then, of course, work, and then, place to stay, and what else. So for this group, they were thinking, okay, we got all what we need. So that's why we have to fight with our people. The Senate or the government, let's say, telling this group of Lampedusa people who are coming from Italy that go and evict the people at Orianienplatz. Evict them. If you evict Orianienplatz, we will give you all what we promise. But if you don't evict Orianienplatz, we will not give you what you want. Now the group of Lampedusa thinking that we are enemy to them. This is what I say, divide and rule, So they were actually applying divide and rule. I'm coming from Sudan. They were also divide and rule Sudan by calling the South Sudanese like the closed zone. And the, north from Khartoum, north to Khartoum there, they say these are educated people, So they were doing that. So I have seen, and I said, look here, this is divide and rule. Don't think like that. Let's just continue. But, desperately, these people came and evict Orianienplatz, in April 2014. They came in the morning, like 6 o'clock, for example, very well equipped. And then they came and crashed the tents down, things like that. And the Senate was there. The Green Party mayor was there, behind and watching and laughing. And people were here fighting with all what they can, hold in their hands, and the police were ready to pick up the people, and the cranes for, cleaning up the place were there already. So they were all, equipped. So for me, I knew this before I went out, I cannot fight my brothers, They put us like this. In the media, they can see, black people of color are fighting themselves, The world will see like that. It's a very horrible picture if you can see. So I could not come, but something just say part of my heart say, just go and see. So when I came there, everything was not good at all. So that's why I occupied the tree for 5 days, demanding our space back. And this political ground is not only for me, Napoli here, or some people who are here, because the war is going on. Still, the Westerners, they don't stop war. And this is for the people who are not yet here. This place is for them. That was why I demanded this place.
Wow.
And then after that, after everything, we were given small place for our political ground officially by them. And we got that. We have now, for example, 7-11 meters at Orianienplatz. We can put our, pavilion there. We can put our information point, and everything is, of course, political. Until 2021, this paper was taken from us again, because you have to know that the government will never let you have anything tangible or something in your power. So they took the paper, and that time we were making information and all this due to, what is going on every day in the world, and it was during Afghanistan crisis. So they provoked us by taking this paper again. So I took to the tree again for 7 days this time, because they know already, Napoli can survive 5 days. But we went 7 days, and I was continue as long, we just need our place. So we got that paper again, and we were performing until this year. If you see at Orianienplatz, we see the tree also as a monument, historical tree, who brought us our right back to Orianienplatz, because now Orianienplatz is not evicted, because from the beginning to the end, Orianienplatz never evicted, because we have our own platform there, in a public place. And this is the only place outside that owned by refugees for their historical place. So we were given back that paper after 7 days. And then this year, early this year, there is monument there, the historical monument that, reminding us the people who we lost with all this crisis, police brutality or profiling and everything. They remove also this 300 tons, I think, something like this, very, very heavy. They came and removed. And then people called me and said, Napoli, you have to know that this place is removed. And then we make demonstration, and we here and there, when they got that we are still around, because, the government try to see if you can say something about it. If not, they just steal it.
On what grounds?
The people who took it say we were taking it to wash. How can you wash the monument? When monument came, it was broken into two. So they don't have anything to say, but we were going to wash. This is also something that we have to look critically. During this crisis also, now, 2 months ago or something, we were putting our information point there and calling for a stop war in Palestine, a stop war in Sudan, Ukraine, and, all over the world. Even conflict before war, there is conflict everywhere. So for us, it's we have to fight now to put this. Otherwise, even Germany is not safe. Nobody's safe anywhere if we look like this. So when we were talking there, bringing all this on the ground, the police now came again and said Orianienplatz refugees movement is not political. And then we were like, what? So you want to cut it down and say not political? We are political. We are refugees all over the world. And these refugees, they have places. I'm from Sudan. My Sudan is in fire. So should I not talk about Sudan? Should I talk about what now at Orianienplatz? We have refugees from Palestine. Should they just leave not to talk about? In Congo, we have Congolese people who are here, who say, hey guys, my country is like this. So Orianienplatz has the whole countries in the world, in Latin America, name it. So how come you said, it is not political, it is information point? Okay, if it is information point, what kind of information we are giving to the people? Is it not the information of what is going on in Palestine, what is going on in Sudan? Is it not political? So that's why I was detained. And now I'm facing the court.
You were detained because you stayed with the info point. And
they came and took everything, actually. 2 pavilion chairs, and we have the tables, and we have the materials, everything that we have there. They came and took everything away.
Unbelievable.
So I was out. I came like 15 minutes. Everything was out. And then I was asking them, why everything is out? We have the papers here. This place is our place. What is wrong? And then they say, no, because you are not politically active. Then I said, no, that is wrong. And I was taken and detained. And now they say, okay, now we filed you. You have to know that is a criminal case. Okay, if to make my voice loud is criminal, okay, let's go for it. I have to fight to see where the lawyer is paying. For example, I have to pay the lawyer 1,300 just to follow up like this. So I don't know when will that court will be. So why are we fighting? We are fighting because for me, I have the belief that if you are happy, you make me happy. For example, I was actually giving my mother something. I'm very happy that I could make my mother happy. Why do we have to have all this war in the world? Why do these people who are generating very hard stuff like weapon, for what? No, weapon for what? For animal? Animal also has right. You cannot just kill animal like this. For what? For the nature? Nature, you cannot destroy nature because you have to live in the nature. For whom? Who is your enemy to build this very big thing? Where are we going? So that for me is a big deal. Like until now, I don't find out why these big tanks. For what? Of course, for the human being. And why do we now saying, okay, Palestine or Ukraine or Sudan? Because people are drawing the battlefield for that. So we must fight. And the fight is not just to end today. One thing that I'm fighting until now, you can still see that I speak in English instead of speaking in German, because this is also colonization is still going on. The German system telling their people that the language is important. Now this community become police for us. Like, for example, Napoli, why are you not speaking German? Why are you not like this? Okay, you don't like Germany. And then why are you staying here in Germany then? If you don't, all this I get all the time from my friends, even within my family. I say, look here, do you know when I came, the first time when I came here, I was asked to speak German because I'm in German land. I'm in Deutschland, Napoli, du musst German sprechen or something like that. That means I must speak German because I'm in the German land. And this remind me colonization. I speak English. It's not my mother tongue. How long now I speak English? I speak Arabic. It's not my mother tongue. is also colonization. And my mother tongue, I cannot even talk because, since childhood, I must speak this language, I must speak this language. If I go, for example, you grow up in the US, you speak English, automatic. For me, I have to first study the language before I catch you. You are already gone with the study. And for me, how many years to master the English? So we are the strongest people here. We are the intelligent people. We are the history people. For me to speak that, Arabic first before I catch you. I speak English before I catch you. And now I have to speak Dutch before I catch you. So I'm like, look here, Napuli, I have a choice. I don't need to speak German. And then from within, they say, Napuli, you cannot, because here, if you marry, you will have problem. I marry, I have my child. Oh, your child has to go to Kita. You must speak. I don't speak. My child now is in the school, not in the Kita also. I say, I want to study. They say, Napoli, you cannot study because you don't have, German. I study masters here. And now, as I'm with you, I am a PhD candidate in Göttingen University. I don't speak German, and I don't want to speak. Do you think I'm stupid not to speak? No. I decided not to speak, not to hear anything there. But I know that people cannot listen to me, cannot understand me until maybe years to come, or maybe somebody who is very known, like maybe president, to say no, or maybe a pope, and then they will understand. But for me, I have to fight to say this is colonization. I don't want. But I'm not going to keep silent. I'm going to fight this and say this is one of the tools. The languages in general are very good tools for communication. And I study communication in India, actually. I know how much communication is important. But you cannot use that very important tool to colonize people. These are the things that people don't see. And we have to fight every time. My stomach sometimes is hurting because I just see myself, 90% I have to explain myself throughout, every time.
Have you seen over the time of your fight any of your demands met for asylum seekers and refugees?
Yes, that is always, when I see back, first of all, somebody was like, Napoli, if you could go back there, and what would you change better? I say, I can't change anything. Because what I see, I was like, how did I do it? Wow, it's a great thing. And that's also make me like, do whatever you like, and later you will see. So for us, we could change the obligation of residency. In 2013, they abolished that, Now we can at least, move.
Amazing.
I can go to, north of Germany, like Hamburg, or I can go to Munich and, visit my friends. Now at least that was, and also the vouchers, change.
The vouchers for
the 40 euros.
For food or for transportation?
Everything, like 40 euros.
Okay.
So that time we change, and we could have, bank account. You can have cash. So we could dismantle this thing. And also we could change the system itself. For me, I just work on reality. This is what I feel. This is what I see. So it is very, very, direct demands. So we have things, and also we don't reach other things,
Yeah. At some point, are asylum seekers ever given the right to work?
Yes. Now you have some time to stay in your, homes when you are seeking asylum. And then in a certain point, you can go to Auslanderbeholder and ask for job. It's not automatic. You go there and say, okay, I'm looking for a job in this and this, and then they can give you the right to work.
So it's still very paternalistic.
Yes, you have to go there. But we could adjust, because this one was not there. But we could read that, and that means for us, there is hope of fighting, Mm-hmm. This gave us like, fight, don't give up, Because if we cannot get anything, and then, we have to adjust again our fight or something, because there is no any, impact of our fight. But as I see, I always say, just go ahead, what even individual, I don't mind, if you, fight individually with the radio, with the maybe, a photograph or whatever, because all these are records for tomorrow.
I'm wondering, if you have thoughts about how the refugee movement is interacting now with the fight for Palestinian rights. Do you have hope that will galvanize more general movements around Sudan, around Congo, around refugee rights? Is there the possibility to join these struggles?
From the beginning, as I said, refugees are not coming from different planets. They are coming from those countries that you are mentioning. So we are fighting the real fight. So Orianienplatz is political and looking for all these things. And as I was detained, it was, because of Palestinian issues too, that, we put Palestinian stuff there and we should not do like that, which is wrong. The German government, they don't want you to wear Palestinian stuff, even to say from, because I'm Palestinian, man, I'm Palestinian too. It doesn't matter. I'm Sudan, I have all this. Why? Are you not criminal? You are looking for, Palestinian children dying every day, under the coal, outside there. And your child, Western world child is inside, and they can also not to see this horrible thing even in the TV. But from Palestinian, Congo, Sudan, and other people, they have to see blood outside. It's okay for them. Let them die. It is okay for them. So how do you think I feel as Napuli, being activist? How do I feel? I feel terrible. I feel not human being. In Berlin here, they were chasing Arab child, a teenager. How many police chasing that child, and child now is in a trauma. To see that chased by police and hauled by police like this, if it is your child, will you allow this to happen? Just by raising the flag. It's Germany. Flags are everywhere. I can see. Why is it a special Palestinian flag not to raise? But the good thing is, when I'm, now, for example, if I'm fighting for Orianienplatz, let's say, the Palestinian flag and Sudanese flag look the same. Only the, one color replace the other. So they confused. Then they have to go to their system and find out beforehand. This is just ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
And I said, if I speak in behalf of, what is going on in Palestine, and you catch me on that, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
Until when these people will come to their senses.
This is what we can only still fight for, right?
Yeah. But we are there. We continue fighting. Yes. What we need is just migrants self-organize, and also refugees self-organize, association or group. We need equipment. We cannot fight without anything in our hands. We need support, The government is very strong because they have equipment. For us, self-organized refugees, we are not equipped on anything. And as refugees, as this association, equip them with support, in any way, so we can fight.
You just heard from Napuli Paul Langa Gerlich, a Sudanese human rights activist living in Berlin, Germany, fighting for the rights of refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants. I'm Mad Kate, and you've been listening to S.W.E.A.T, a series of conversations about performance and performativity of the sexual and sexualized body and work. The theme music was composed by me and features the voice of performer and actress Lori Baldwin. S.W.E.A.T airs every second Tuesday of the month at 13 hours Central European Time on Collaboradio, Free Radios Berlin Brandenburg, broadcasting on 88.4 FM in Berlin, 90.7 FM in Potsdam, and streaming online at fr-bb.org. Afterwards, it's available for streaming wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much. Until next time.